Right.
And Andy, you were saying about how Jordan was presented basically with this is it, go finish it out no matter what happens.
And then the story could end in a remarkable way.
It could end in any sort of way. And Andy, you asked the question, isn't that what he was dealing with anyway? I think that the Lakers deserve a ton of credit over the last. When did LeBron make the announcement last week? Last Wednesday? Whatever.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Because we were on the air together.
So it's a week ago.
Yep.
So a week ago, LeBron informs the Lakers that I am going to go play on another team, that I'm not going to come back to Los Angeles. And since then, there's been a million words written and said about why he decided to do that. The reason he decided to do that is because the Lakers told him they weren't interested. Right. That's why. Well, they did tell a year ago, they said to him, we're not picking up your option. And remember at the beginning of the season, it's like, well, we understand. And the Lakers went, go ahead. They've been saying go ahead for a year, and they kept saying it at the end of this last season.
That's the thing I was specifically referring to.
Okay.
It's when Chris
so you're
had
saying
said
it's like the last dance.
Yes.
Okay.
The
now
last
I get what you mean.
Season when, it was like, we know this is over after this year.
Right.
That's the specific piece that I was referring to.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then.
And
calm down, Andy. Don't throw a berry at me, man. This guy's all tuned up over there.
Come on, Andy.
and he's the Lakers let him have the moment. The Lakers let him say, I'm breaking up with you, you're not breaking up with me, and they're not pushing back on it. They're
because
just
you know why? The Walters group, they don't care.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not going to let their ego get into it like Jeannie and
1,000%.
The Dr. Buss and the legacy. They're like, you know what? Go ahead.
Go ahead. If that's how he wants to, if that's how you want to end this, we're fine.
Have your agent out there saying we're not a championship contender.
We're not a part of your bucket of happiness. We're not on the whiteboard.
But do you think that they would be acting like this if they didn't have Luka Dončić? Meaning that say
probably
if they,
not.
Say if they still had like a LeBron James team and like a couple other role players, like do you think that they would still be? As far as like, I feel like they would still be trying to run it back with LeBron James if they didn't have a set in stone superstar like Luka Dončić.
I think Luka's at least 50% and very likely more than that. The other reason why is the buses aren't in charge.
Well, that's the big piece of this. Like, I think if they had Luka, but it was still Jeannie Buss as the ultimate shot caller, I think they would have re-upped with LeBron again.
They would have picked up the option.
I do not think that Jeannie would have had the stomach to tell LeBron no.
You're absolutely right. Hence why she sold the team. And I think I said it then. She sold the team literally to get away from LeBron James. That was the only way.
I don't know if it's
get away.
In a roundabout way. Yes.
Was the only way.
She did not know how to remove herself from that decision.
Well, because also, too, you could tell, like the last few years of the LeBron AD era, the front office and ownership had clearly decided this has run its course. Like, we don't believe in it any further. And you could see, because they were not really investing in it any further. And you can agree with it, disagree with whatever. For the sake of this conversation, not even important. But what they weren't willing to do was move off it because they don't know what to do with themselves without superstars. So everyone was just sort of sitting in this limbo period that nobody on either side was particularly happy with.
And to kind of circle back to the Laker portion of it, too, that they're just kind of sitting there. And because the second he decided he was going to go play somewhere else, they moved fast. Like, they basically rebuilt the team the next day.
Well, they were already in motion with that.
100%. And the way that it hasn't been LeBron. We haven't really heard from him other than a random tweet. But the way that Team LeBron has been presented, we've gotten a call from every team. Here's the whiteboard. Here's the bucket of success. Here's all the teams. You're pushing a little hard to try to convince me how much people want you on this team.
Right.
Chris, I kind of tend to agree with you. I believe there are teams that want LeBron James to come in.
And then the story about, he would have been a Knick if they didn't win the championship.
Not
really?
a chance. No, the Knicks
really?
The Knicks don't need what I don't know if that's right. If the basketball came in a vacuum, if you're 20 points a night, your 7 assists, your 6 rebounds, whatever the numbers are, came in a vacuum, there would be a lot of people that would want him to come on their team. But it doesn't come in a vacuum. It comes with a center of gravity that alters everything in your organization. And I don't think there are. I think Minnesota would be open. Come on in. Let's go do it. I think there are. But this idea that there's this 10 teams, a third of the league, that Paul said, I've heard from every team in the league. Maybe you've heard from them, but the actual desire to bring him in, I think, is much smaller. I think that's part of the Laker chemistry of what they decided to do.
The devil's in the details and the semantics. Like, I imagine he has heard in one way or another from most of these teams, if for no other reason, then he's got other clients. So he's going to be hearing from a lot of teams regardless. He's an agent. And would some of these teams be interested in LeBron, the majority of them, if they could for like a minimum?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, of course, every team in the league, other than I guess maybe the Lakers, are going to jump at the opportunity for LeBron at a minimum, although I don't think LeBron would have jumped at the Lakers at a minimum. So it's a moot point.
I think the ego of LeBron pays a big – and like you said, Andy, the details matter a great deal here. The Lakers were able to offer him more than anybody else because of the bird rights and everything else. But the other teams were willing to offer everything that they had, and the Lakers were only willing to offer a portion of what they had. So if there are 10 pieces of things that they can send out, they're saying to LeBron, we'll give you 1.5 of them, but that's the best that we can do. The other team, like, I only have 4, but you can have all 4. And I think that makes him feel good. That makes him feel wanted. That makes him feel important. The Lakers, from going back to what you just pointed out, when they basically didn't pick up the option and throughout the entire season up until a week ago, we're like, if you want to stay, we could probably work something out, but that's up to you.
Here's the thing. LeBron could not be a front burner item for them. Like, he just couldn't. Like, and I don't think that's disrespect to LeBron. Like, from a pure cap logistic standpoint, like, they had to renounce his rights just because his cap hold was too big for them to do anything. And the closer we got to free agency without specific talks between LeBron and the Lakers and like even a rough idea of the number, then you knew we're leaning towards him leaving. Because at that point, the Lakers have no choice but to start moving forward. And once you remove the economics, like once the Lakers can't offer him more than everyone else, then it's pretty clear he's not really interested in rejoining the Lakers.
Well, let me ask you something, because Ramona's piece last week about the pillows for the Austin Reeves, when they were courting Austin Reeves and they had his name on the
I want to learn
pillows,
so much about those
or the
pillows.
initials on his pillows, and the room was
And the
dressed
stakes.
up.
I'm
Right. Everything was
fascinated.
set up to court him, right?
Sure.
And many people, once they did that with Austin Reeves, LeBron was done because he didn't want to stay where he was no longer, to your point, the front burner. What team is making him the front burner? If it's Cleveland, they did a max deal with Donovan Mitchell, and many went, oh, that means it's set up for LeBron. But are they courting him as like, LeBron, you're the missing piece? Really?
I don't think so.
Well, I think,
Cleveland was in the Eastern Conference Finals.
yeah, but they still have not gotten over that hump. LeBron could be theoretically the piece that puts him over the hump, and I don't think that's unbelievable.
But are they courting him with pillows and come back home and steaks and we'll get Bronny over here too for you? Like,
and
really?
plus they still have to figure out the James Harden situation as
Right.
well. Like, that's not.
But here's the thing, though. Not all courtships are created equally. Like, they are courting him to the degree that they can. Like, the over the top of this, they can only do so much in terms of bells and whistles and whatever, because like the team is the team. And I think in a lot of ways, LeBron is waiting for either the dust to settle or them to decide editorially what makes the most sense for him moving forward with the documentary.
More of the latter than the former, I think.
But like he said in a Mind the Game episode, this is maybe a month before free agency began, that he didn't think he'd make up his mind until late July or early August. And a lot of people were like, wait, that's bizarre. And my read at the time was, if you take LeBron at face value, and for the time being I'm going to, what he's saying is by late July, early August, the money is going to be inconsequential. It's all going to be basically the same. It's all going to be what I believe is below market value for me. So I'm just going to look at the situation. I'm just going to weigh the situation. And also, if he's waiting till late July, early August, that likely means Lakers are out. Because the equalizer for them was the money.
Go ahead, Chris.
A question George Sinano on the Sinano and Cap Morning Show, weekdays at 7 a.m. He asked all of us, which I thought was a good question. And I actually want to start with Laura, because I think her opinion of being so anti-LeBron, let's call it that.
Critical.
If, let's say, LeBron goes to the Cavs and they win the NBA Finals next year, the overall question is, what will Lakers fans feel? But I'll start with how you would feel, Laura.
I wouldn't care.
Okay. So most of us said, I wouldn't care. I would say that most Lakers fans will go, well, he's still not Kobe. He's still not Magic. He never was. And even so, let's say he wins that finals with us. He's still who he is. He's just chasing titles. Who cares? DeAndre?
Yeah, I mean, that's bittersweet. It's like, okay, cool, fine, move on. Like, let's go. Let's get this Luka Dončić, situation. Let's get it going.
Andy?
Good for him. That would be my reaction. Like, awesome for LeBron. He's had a great career. It's cool if he closes it with a title. But this thing with the Lakers had run its course. Like, I don't consider it a with Cleveland or stay with the Lakers. Like, it's over. It's felt over for a while.
Sweet tea, Travis Rogers?
I'm with Laura. I don't care.
All right.
Like honestly, when it comes to this,
So doesn't that tell you everything? If people don't care, like if Kobe went somewhere else and won, that would crush people's souls.
Forget it. Because, again, Kobe and Magic are the exact opposite of what LeBron James is. They're all great basketball players, but the difference is Kobe and Magic have roots in this city, have feelings, emotional connections to the people that live here, to the organization that they played for. And LeBron was a good basketball player for the Lakers. There's a chasm between those things, and good players come and go all the time.
And LeBron was a made guy when he arrived.
Yes.
And part of that connection is seeing a guy like Magic or seeing a guy like Kobe win their first championship with the organization, second, and down the line, then they end up lifers, which is sort of the cherry on top of the sundae. But LeBron arrived a made man. And also, if we're all being honest, he arrived with the Lakers needing him more than he needed the Lakers, and that is something that has never sat well with Laker fans.
It's also something that, by the way, DeAndre, I love that you said what you said because you've been a very big LeBron guy, so the fact that you said that, I'm happy. Also, he is the equivalent, and I said this before on the airwaves, of your typical transplant to LA. Everything that people hate of a transplant that comes from somewhere else and wants to be LA but can't grasp what LA actually is, that is LeBron in a nutshell. When it comes out,
That's
this is just as what I perceive, okay? Not in the court, not on that, because I've always given him his props there because you cannot take that away from him. But as like a guy that comes here and wants to act LA or be LA and doesn't even know what being LA is.
Tried, though. I
think
that's
he
Oh, no, I think he remember the Blaze Pizza thing, and
he didn't try that, or he didn't show up.
He didn't show up.
I mean, but that's my point. I don't think he ever worked that hard to ingratiate himself with the fan base, other than 2020. I think that whole season, like he and AD and Vogel, because he was like the fourth choice at best for the job, and Pelinka. Like, I think everybody approached that season with something to prove. And then LeBron, after Kobe's death, I think he really took seriously the idea of want to try to shepherd the organization past this. They all openly wanted to win for Kobe. And I think that's the most connected to the city and to the fan base he ever felt. But by and large, I don't think he ever tried that hard.
No, but what's a transplant? Like, to me, a transplant is somebody who tries to be, they're fake. People, when I go anywhere else in the country and I say, oh, I'm from LA, they're like, really? You're so chill. You're so real. LA people are not fake. Those are the people that come here and pretend to be or try to act to be. And LeBron always came off as unauthentic, fake.
Well, that is true.
And that's what people did not like and did not gravitate to.
He never was one of us. He was here. He played great. And like Laura said, no one really ever criticized his basketball. His basketball was beyond criticism for the most part. But it was one of those, I'm here to extract something from this city, from that organization. Give me what I want or else, and I'm always going to have one foot out the door. That's not a way to make people. Now, whether it's inauthenticity, whether it's transplant, I don't know. We could put a million different things on that, but I think we're all kind of coming to the same point, which is just he never just was said, guys, I'm here because I want to be here because I love y'all. I'm going to finish here. It was always stay over there. Stay over there. It was never embracing.
There's only so attached you can get to something that feels transactional. I think, by the way, cuts both ways.
Sure.
Like, I think in some respects, there's only so attached to LeBron the Lakers could get when you know it's that transactional. Like, it honestly cuts both ways.
But what's weird to me, Andy, is because we've seen it with other guys that have come from other places, to your point, that have been made men. Think about Mookie Betts comes to the Dodgers like that. Like, Dodger fans love him. The city loves him. Shohei Ohtani played down the street, won 3 MVPs, was the best player in baseball for 8 years, and everybody's like, we liked him. He comes to we love Shohei Ohtani.
The big difference, though, between what you're talking about with Mookie and what you're talking with Shohei versus LeBron, there was never an impression of Mookie or Shohei trying to Bigfoot the organization.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's also a big piece of it. It's one thing for it to be transactional, like, okay, but if it's both transactional and Bigfooting, and,
by the way, Freddie Freeman, too, same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's stuff that he did with Cleveland. It's stuff that he did with Miami. And look, you got those cities both championships.
That's why it's complicated.
It's worth it to them, but it just feels different, particularly when you don't get as many championships, I think, as people maybe unrealistically expected.
You put your finger on it. Those other guys. Freddie's another perfect example. Those guys all won. Shohei didn't win a title, but Shohei was the best player in the league. Mookie won a title, was an MVP. Freddie won a title, was an MVP. But they came in, but they were happy to be here, and they wanted to bring the Dodgers back to a level that they hadn't seen in a really long time. They wanted to be the reason. This was to your Bigfoot is guy. I'm doing you a favor by coming in here. I'm doing you a favor, and if you don't like it, I might leave. And it just the Dodger guys have never done that. We see Matthew Stafford gets traded here, and instantly people are like, "That's my guy."
But you know what, though? I think also too, like in the case of Betts and Ohtani and Freeman and Stafford in different ways, they were coming from organizations that all felt like had failed those guys, and those guys were coming here like grateful for an opportunity that it felt like they weren't going to get at their previous stop, whether in terms of winning, whatever. Like, Betts was traded here. Like,
sure.
Freddie never wanted to leave Atlanta.
I understand.
They, the Angels.
But to Laura's point, like it's not just that you came from somewhere else. Like Kobe and Magic were here from the beginning. They stayed there. You can come from another place. LA is transplants. LA is nothing but transplants. People that are born and raised and spend their whole lives here are actually pretty rare, right? Most people come from another place. It's not that he came from Miami or he came from Cleveland it's that he never decided that I'm going to love you as much as you want to love me.
Then you combine the previous, frankly, forced rivalry between him and Kobe that was sort of thrust upon all of us. So you've got the guy that's the transplant, that's transactional, that's bigfooting, and he was compared against Kobe. And in the eyes of a lot of Laker fans, elevated above Kobe before he'd even won a first championship.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to sit wrong with a lot of fans.
The DeMarco and Travis Afternoon Show.